Okay, I think we're ready, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IAAF press conference ahead of the IAAF Mikkola World Cross Country Championships here in Aarhus. We are in this incredible venue, which is the Mørsgaard Museum, whose roof is actually part of the course. I'm not going to talk about the course because I think these guys will enough say that it's going to be very exciting and challenging. It's an honor for us to be here with IAAF President Seb Coe and LOC President Jacob Larsen. We're also incredibly honored to have so much talent. Thank you guys for taking time out of your training schedule to be here. We have Jeffrey Kamara, the two-time defending champion, and Helen O'Beary, who won the 5,000 meters in London in 2017, who will both be representing Kenya tomorrow. We have Courtney Fredericks of the US, who won silver in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. Another steeplechase specialist, Anna Emily Muller, who will, as you can see, be representing the host country of Denmark tomorrow. And last but not least, Adam Hickey from Team GB, who won the National Cross Country Championships. Incredibly proud and honored also to have at the very end of the row two legends of cross-country running. Lynn Jennings, who is also an IAAF ambassador, who won 3 consecutive titles back in the early 90s. And Paul Turgott, who won 5 consecutive World Cross Country titles. These two legends, obviously, we'll hear from in a minute. So to start off the press conference, can I ask Seb to come to, well, not the lectern, but the table, to say a few words?
Lara, thank you for setting this up. And my first thanks on these occasions, as you would expect me to, go to the athletes. I remember, I'm quite a long way away from competition now, but I do remember the requests before competitions to help an LOC or to help a federation out. And I know that, you know, that's quite an intrusive question on the day before a championship. So I'm really grateful that they're here just trying to share the story that we're trying to share more globally at the moment, which is cross-country. It probably goes without saying that I love athletics, but I probably, if I really was going to wear my heart on my sleeve, I really love cross-country. And I love cross-country because I think it is quintessentially that element of our sport that sort of sums up the human condition. It's endurance, it's focus, it's strategy, it's man and woman against the elements, the environment, some of them naturally occurring, some of them, as we've seen today, less naturally occurring, but it's a synthesis of the both. And I also love cross-country because it's one of those few disciplines in our sport where, you know, the middle distance can meet long distance, where a 1,500-meter runner with an ambition and a background in cross-country can be as competitive on the course as somebody that's running the marathon. And I think that's fairly rare in our sport. And for me, cross-country has it all. 560-odd athletes, 66, I think, member federations here. That's a huge gathering. It's a global event. And why do I also love cross-country? And this is where my comms team sort of look slightly nervously at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that cross-country is an inseparable part of the physical and mental development of not just athletes, but actually I'd go so far as to say anybody wanting that kind of underpinning to ply their trade in almost any sport. And although I was never remotely in the class of these guys, and particularly not the two sitting at the end there, I sort of jogged around English schools courses and the odd shorter cross-country course that Brendan Foster could conjure up for me in early years. I also know that it was the foundation of my career. If at the age of 16 you knew you could master a 4 or 5 mile cross-country course, then you sure as hell knew that there was nothing that was going to be thrown at you on the track in training that you weren't able to master. And I guess the testimony to that is just look at the quality of what our top cross-country runners have also achieved on the track, and Paul is a classic example. And this sort of misnomer that you can't do them at the same time and you can't do them in the same season is sort of destroyed by the fact that this guy won track titles and cross-country titles in the same year. So what I want to come out of this great event is not just a fresh innovation around course design, and Jakob and your teams have done a fantastic job there, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But it is also to try and bridge that gap of understanding that I think is sadly sort of growing. There's a delta between young coaches and the importance that they are now attributing or not attributing to cross-country. So for me, this is a great moment, not just to bring our sport into the lives of local communities, because I think cross-country can genuinely help us engage in that broader global discussion. And you know, if we're not about clean air and we're not about landscapes and we're not about the environment, then we're probably not about much else in our sport. I think it can genuinely help bring new fans into athletics. And I really do crucially think that we need to get that younger generation of coaches to really understand that cross-country isn't a nice to have. It is actually an inseparable part of the development of endurance athletes, particularly those going onto the track. I'm really pleased I've now got that off my chest. So if innovation is about keeping us relevant, let me thank Jakob, because I had sensed for some time that there wasn't as much excitement as there should have been in golf courses, on racetracks and on hay bales. I think that there was a demand from the athletes. There was certainly a demand from the public and our fans, who themselves are actually looking for challenges in their own lives that sort of are replicated in cross-country, to, in a way, go back to our roots. And my goodness, Jakob, you've done that. You've done that in a terrific way, because you've melded the built environment and the natural environment. We've got Viking zones, which I did smile at when I looked at my notes that had Viking zones, because 1,300 years ago my whole country was a Viking zone. So we're happy to come back and I hope sort of respect history and make a little bit more history today. That the athletes I've spoken to this afternoon and on the course this morning are really excited about the various zones, particularly the up close and personal bit in the beer tent. I hope some of them don't actually stop at that moment. And this is what cross country should be. And for those of you, and let me, you know, I'm no great aficionado of social media, but my attention was drawn to Matt Baxter's tweet the other day talking about this course. And if any of you haven't seen that, then it really is worth looking at. I think it really, in its own way, brings out the excitement of what we're seeing here. I'm also really pleased because this is the first event. I'm going to get technical for a moment, which is always a worry. And my teams, if my teams get worried when I talk about cross-country, they get really worried when I start talking about technology. But this is the first event where we're working with a new setup, really, IAAF Productions. And for those of you who are not aware, IAAF Productions is a joint venture between the IAAF and ITN Production. And really it is our way of bringing broadcast and broadcast and production under one roof in-house. And the ambition really is to provide a better, higher, more consistent quality in broadcast, in all the things that we also know we have to achieve around highlight packages, around interviews, around magazine programs, about creating bespoke content for you, about great commentary, better graphics, because we now are appealing to a generation that actually really does want that kind of information, and they don't just want it on screen, they want it on all the other screens. And so that's the first outing for IAAF Productions. I know I was with them all on Friday last week in London at their headquarters. I know they're really excited about that. And I'm also particularly pleased because we have a record number of broadcasters that are taking our feed globally. This event will be seen in, I think, over 70 countries, live or in highlight, and that includes 14 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And I'm absolutely delighted this morning to be able to, I guess I'm announcing it, but I am really pleased to be able to announce a new free-to-air partnership with TVMS, who have reached an agreement with ESPN Media Distribution to represent the IAAF for the distribution of free-to-air coverage and media rights in all our events across our WAS events, World Athletics Series events in 2019 and 2020. They have the rights in 48 territories in Africa, and we are particularly pleased because for those that are not currently in that package, they will still be able to watch all the fun and the frolics and the drama unfold on the course out there on our IAAF YouTube channel. And it is really important. We know how important cross-country is in the lives of millions of Africans, and that's why we're so pleased that we've got this deal across the line. And anything that helps us get more of our sport on free-to-air television is something that we take very, very seriously. Let me just conclude. And this is a huge thank you because I talked about innovation, we've talked about the course, but none of that would have happened had it not been for the incredible ambition and the willingness to take up the challenge of Jakob and his teams, the Danish Federation and the LOC. And I'm particularly pleased because my instinct, particularly since in this country, when we had the first of the new focus that we brought to the World Half Marathon Championships, it's my belief that we should never have an event like this where we're not also promoting and pushing participation. So over the course of tomorrow, I think there are 9 mass participation races in one guise or another. Am I aging you a bit here, more or less? Yep. And we've got them from youth to senior. And again, I guess that is quintessentially summed up by our need to maintain that global conversation and attract more people into cross-country, because I genuinely think it's a way of engaging not just cross-country to the world, but helping the family of athletics and in all its disciplines just punch a little heavier and occasionally above its weight. So, Jakob, thank you very much for the work you've done, and to the athletes here, thank you, and we'll get you back to training or to bed or to whatever it is you are doing before tomorrow's arduous trek round that course as quickly as we possibly can. Lara, back to you.
Thank you, Seb. Jakob, do you want to say a few words? Whatever you prefer, you can say that.
This morning I had breakfast with the future host of this event, Bathurst, Australia, talking about how we did this. And it was kind of poetic in many ways that the very first sentence that was written on a piece of paper starting this event was a quote from where I'm from, perhaps the most famous Australian. "That's not a knife, this is a knife." So the entire way in this process of creating this event, it has more or less been not about the production of a World Championships. It's been about designing an experience. Designing an experience for the world-class athletes, for mass participation runners, for spectators, and also for people watching it on the television for 5 seconds, for half an hour, or indeed for the entire event. Always making it worthwhile investing time in actually looking in this direction, because this has from day one been about turning people's heads. So whatever we could come up with that would make people turn their heads, yes, let's do this, because that probably would be a knife. Pardon my French. So we are not a big federation, as you all know. We are a minor country and a minor federation, so we have this tendency to always say we cannot play by the same rules as everyone else. We need to do it differently. If you cannot win by the standard rules, change the rules. So we're trying to do that. Hopefully it will all play out tomorrow, and I hope we will all have a fantastic day, and I look so much forward to this being, hopefully, a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Jakob. Thank you so much. If I can now move on to ask questions to the athlete, I mean, Jeffrey and Adam will excuse me, but I will start with the ladies, and in particular, Ellen. Helen, you've just won the Kenyan cross-country trials, and none of us have ever run those other than you guys, but we obviously know that it's arguably the hardest race on the planet, and winning that, has that given you confidence, extra boost? How was winning that race?
Thank you. I think winning Kenyan cross country, as you know, is tough, and we have athletes from Kenya who did their best, but I was so thankful to win the race, and I'm looking forward to continue with that spirit.
And obviously, Helen, you have an incredible resume. You won gold in London, silver in Rio. You also won a gold medal at the IAAF World Relays in 2014. You won the Diamond League. But it's the first time you're actually running a World Cross Country Championships. Why have you decided to come and test yourself on the mud and the biking hunt here?
Okay, it's my first time to do cross country international. I decided because sometimes it's good to have male titles, because I have never done cross country, and in my career, so I decided to have a medal at least in a world cross, and it can help me to prepare well for next championship in Doha.
Needless to say, Helen, that Kenya is one of the outstanding favorites tomorrow, and in particularly in the team race. How do you rate the chances of Kenyan women to repeat a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 finish that you guys achieved in Uganda 2 years ago?
You know, I can't say anything about tomorrow. As you know, it's a championships, and anybody can win. So as you can see, it's a tough course. It all depends on experience, and it's all about mind game. So probably I wouldn't say anything for now. Yeah.
I think it's a wise decision, Helen. If I can now move on to Courtney. Courtney, I believe this is your first World Cross Country Championships as well. Why have you decided to put the cross country into your agenda specifically this year?
So the last 3 years, ever since I went pro, I've actually done a cross-country race leading into the track season. I think it's a good way for me to prepare for the track season. I'm definitely more of a strength runner, but when we saw Denmark got awarded this championships and we started to see the course, my coach and I, Jerry, we both felt that it could bode well for me to do well on the cross course. I think I'm definitely a strength runner, so I'm excited to test that. And I really love the team element of cross country too, and especially when we started to see that we could send a lot of Bowerman girls on the U.S. team, that opportunity, I think we just couldn't pass. So I think that was the biggest part of it, was the team element, to be a part of the team, and then also to have my own teammates that I train with every day to also be on that team as well.
And having won silver in the 3,000-meter steeplechase in London, you obviously used to the obstacles, which are part of a cross-country traditional race. Have you been on the course? What is your take on the elements? Which bits are you most worried or looking forward to?
Yeah, we ran the course yesterday, and I think, like I've mentioned, it was harder than we even anticipated, but I think we're really excited for the challenge. And you know, I think the thing we're most nervous about is probably the roof, because it's pretty steep, and so doing that 5 times is definitely going to be challenging. But I think the biggest thing is just going to be, like Helen said, it's like your mindset. It's going to be the mind game and mentally staying focused throughout the race.
And as you mentioned before, I think one of the things will help you, the mind games, is that the team element. So, as you know, 6 athletes from each country can enter the race and only 4 will score. Where do you see the USA's chances in the team race?
I think we have a great chance. I think all of us have that same goal in mind, that we're here to see how well we can do as a team, and I think that's a big reason why a lot of us U.S. athletes get excited about this opportunity. You know, in the world of professional running, it's so much of it is based on an individual thing, and especially in the U.S., we have the NCAA system, and that's, for me at least, was the highlight of my NCAA career, was being able to be on a team and actually win a national championship with the team. So I think the U.S. team could surprise some people because we're so excited about that team element. So I think it'll be a really great day.
Good luck. Thank
Thanks.
you, Courtney. Anna, can I move on to you? Now, Anna, you're also a steeplechase runner on the track. What is this pattern? How do you explain steeplechase and cross-country being so matched? Is it about the event? Is it about the discipline in training?
I mean, it's like, can you try to like explain like?
You do the steeplechase on the track,
Like
and now
compare
compare the 2 events. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's both about like, you know, something breaking the rhythm in running, and it's both like tough events, and yeah, I think that's about it.
And Jakob was talking about the LOC's efforts, and the whole Aarhus community has put together a fantastic event for tomorrow. Will your family be around? Are you excited about having your friends and family looking on to you tomorrow?
Yeah, my family will definitely be there tomorrow, and it's going to be exciting to compete at home soil. Never tried to like compete at home soil in such a big event before. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a very nice day.
Anna, you're only 21, right? You've already taken part in the Olympics, you've already taken part in the World Championships, in the European Championships, now the World Cross. Where do you see your career going from here?
Don't know, competing.
What is your ultimate ambition?
Well, the Olympics next year, definitely. Is my main goal right now. So yeah, just continue to develop, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Best of luck. Adam, you're up next. Now, I was doing some homework and looking up, obviously, information about you guys, and I fell upon your Instagram page. And your bio goes like, husband, father, runner, firefighter, run and fitness coach, dad to 2 crazy boys, husband to an awesome wife. You must be a really busy man.
Yeah, this is quite a break, actually, coming away. And not
You're on
quite a
holiday this week, yeah.
Yeah, not quite a holiday, but yeah, it's good to get away for a competition. I'll race as much as I can.
Can you tell us a bit about your firefighter career?
Yeah, I've been at London Southend Airport as a firefighter for nearly 1 year now. So it took a bit of adjusting to working as shifts and doing days and nights. But I'm finally kind of getting around to being able to adjust my training. I've done 54 laps around one of the aircraft stands at work the other week to make up 8 miles. And yeah, it's just adjusting. It's all about just adjusting things into your day-to-day life. And I enjoy working, I enjoy fire, and I enjoy running. So it's all good.
Fantastic. You're a lucky man to be able to do all of those things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last time you wore the GB vest was back in Mombasa, 12 years ago, where you ran the junior race.
Yeah, at the World Cross. My last World Cross was Mombasa. Before that, I went to Fukuoka the year before and St. Galmier the year before. But yeah, Mombasa, unfortunately, ended up in a calf tear. But yeah, it's good to be back 12 years later. I keep getting reminded.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
I had a little gap and then, yeah, a bit of triathlon and then got back into running.
And earlier this month, you won the National Cross Country Championships, right? How has that boosted your confidence coming here?
Yeah, I can't take claim for the national. That was Mohammed, but I took the British Championship, which was the trials a few weeks ago. And yeah, it was a tough course, not quite as tough as we're going to be racing in tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, to win the British champs as a senior, after doing it like so long ago as a junior and as younger years, meant a lot. And yeah, especially I've got 2 young boys, so it's good for them to see me kind of being able to do well. And yeah, get back into a GV vest.
Well, good luck, Adam.
Thank you.
Last but not least, obviously, Jeffrey here next to me. Now, Jeffrey, you're the 2-time defending champion, and earlier this week, you published a story which read, How to Win a World Cross Country Championships. And you described your 7-point strategy. Now, are you not worried giving away all your tips to all your competitors?
Thank you. Actually, I'm very delighted to be for my 4th appearance in the World Cross Country Championship, starting way back from 2011, winning juniors. So, me coming here for my 4th time is my desire that hopefully I will do the best. Because normally I've run cross country many times and I've mastered the techniques. I've known how to run it with my own plans. And always coming for a cross-country championship, when I win a medal, it always motivates me to go for another one. So this brings back that winning the last medal in Uganda, World Cross Country, motivates me for tomorrow. Yeah.
And one of the lines that really impressed me was, you said, cross-country is my best friend. I love the feel of the event. Can you try and put into words what you actually feel while you run a cross-country?
Actually, cross-country, as referred as my best friend, is that I run with a lot of passion. And where I come from, Kenya, is I train from downhills, uphills, flat courses. And those are the courses that we are going to run, especially the one for tomorrow. It's like the one we normally train at home. So to me, it's like it's like the way I've referred as my friend.
And recently, you've run obviously the national trials back in Kenya, and you only finished 5th. But we know that you can turn the tables around tomorrow, can't you?
Thank you. Okay, to me, my main focus was to get into the Kenyan team for the World Cross Country. As I've said that this is my 4th appearance in the World Cross Country Championships. I've never won any trials to come for the World Cross Country Championships. I've always been number 3, 4, 5, and I've always come a World Cross Country with a different mentality and a different focus. So to me, that wasn't something to mind about. Yeah.
Thank you,
Jeffrey. The focus is about tomorrow.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And good luck. Now, Jeffrey's obviously on course to legendary status, but as I mentioned before, we already have 2 legends there. Lynn, you've won 3 consecutive World Cross Country, the latest of which on home snow, I should say, back in Boston. What does cross country mean to you? What has it meant to you, and what does it mean now?
Well, I'll fully echo Seb's comments about the underpinnings. And every single year for 8 straight years, I would go to World Cross with varying levels of success. But it always served as the true foundation of the rest of my entire year. And the slight distinction I would make about some of the descriptions of cross country is it's not woman and man against nature, but rather with it. And what Jeffrey is saying about the passion, it's running on the grass, feeling the difficulty. And to me, cross country was always that mirror I would hold up to myself and find out exactly how strong my backbone was, exactly how robust my willingness was, and how stout my heart was. And I knew if I could place or medal or win at World Cross, it gave me an indomitableness for the entire rest of the year. And it actually served, I think I would have been lesser of a track athlete without the cross. So to come here and see this course, as I said to Jakob earlier, where were you my entire cross-country life? I needed you. The natural elements of this course are as authentic as they should be. The hills and the undulations. Add in the extra elements of the mud and water, and it is truly the best and the toughest cross-country course I have seen since I was 14 years old and started this sport. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lynn. And as you said, you've been on the course, you've seen the athletes here, and I understand you're also a very keen supporter of the return of cross-country to the Olympic Games, maybe?
I am indeed, and I'd like to think it's the ultimate goal. I think it belongs there. I know there's a lot that would have to get done to include it, but I think it ought to be there.
Thanks, Lynn. Paul. You have won 5 of these back in the day, consecutive ones. What memories do you keep from your victories? Which one was the sweetest one, if any?
Thank you again. I think to me is that looking in terms of coming from all the way during my time about cross-country, it shows that cross-country is where we are supposed to be. I'm happy that when Seb said that it is the foundation of everything again. Even impressed when first time when I came here, especially in Scandinavia like this one. What maybe I was taken aback is that the weather is so good. I was not expecting to be able to see this. I knew, because when I was checking it probably around 2 weeks ago, I was not expecting that the weather is going to be like this. But all in all, regardless of whatever conditions and that you will be able to face, so long as that you have been training and working hard, you can compete in any condition. This course, and I want to say to Jakob that it is one of the best courses that I've ever seen. This course is fantastic, beautiful. If you could see it alone, you can be able to enjoy. There is something that he knew, that even when I was going around here today, I say, can I remove my clothes today? Maybe to get into it here.
Paul, no one will shout at me today if I say that you're an expert of cross-country, so let me ask the expert's opinion. Do you think Jeffrey will be able to three-peat tomorrow and get a little bit closer to your record?
I think based on the weather today, if it's going to be like this, hopefully tomorrow, then I can bet on Jeffrey.
Okay. Very brave, very brave. Thank you, Paul. We now have time for a few questions, so if you do have questions, please raise your hand. We have a roving microphone which is ready to come to you. Don't be shy. Renee, okay, the gentleman over there. I cannot see you, sorry.
Hello, this is for Jakob. My name is Mark Cullen. I'm from Seattle, Washington in the United States, and my website is trackkarate.com. You are widely hailed as a savior of cross-country, as we know it and want it to be, so no pressure. Okay? With the understanding that IAAF will conduct its own evaluation, there'll be many outside sources of evaluation, what are your own internal standards by which you will judge the success of these championships? When you leave here late tomorrow night, what will you hope you will be thinking and feeling?
That's a tough question. If we manage to make people turn their heads, as I referred, that is a huge success. Not only the family of athletics in itself, but indeed regular people who don't really know even what cross-country is. But if we manage to create some sort of awareness that something big went down, and perhaps even when it comes around next time, okay, this is the real deal. This is big time. That will be a success. That's part of it. The other part of it is that I truly hope, and this is very important, that you all leave and felt this was something special. Those two. Then I'll be happy.
Thanks, Jakob. I think we have another question from Renee. Can you raise your hand so the gentleman can see you? There, yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Coe. Two questions. Are you not afraid that when we are going to Australia in 2 years, Australians are always by all championships, that not so many teams are going to Australia?
No, look, actually we have the Australian Organising Committee for Bathurst. Darren's hiding away at the back of the room there. They are really engaged already with us in this. And it is our responsibility to make the point to all federations that this is a World Championship and we expect to see them there. And, you know, when we had a similar challenge in the lead up to Kampala, I was really clear. I wrote to each and every individual federation and said, I want you there. You need to be supporting our events, and not just because they're our World Championship events, but actually because they are an important pathway for your athletes. So, look, we will work on that. But hey, we're a global sport, and we can't just forever say, well, you know, because you know it's a long way away. We can't stage those events that help those areas, particularly those areas where cross country is important, not to be able to develop their sport. We have a collegiate responsibility here to support each other, and I will be making that point consistently over the next few years, as I have in the last few years.
You had another question? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Denmark has been always in World Champions cross country, World Champions half marathon. Can you make more pressure on the other European countries that they are making more, but it is not so good that a lot of countries are not here at the tent?
Yeah, I think probably in the way I answered the first question, you should probably be able to pick up a hint of what I think that strategy will be. But you're right. You know, we do want European. Europe is you know, historically a very strong cross-country area. If I'm going to throw in a bit of a controversial, and this is where they're starting to panic now, if I throw in a slightly controversial view, I don't think there's any coincidence with the relative diminution in performances in Europe over distance and the diminution in the importance attached to cross-country by a new generation of coaches. So I think we've got work to do in all those areas. And if I was just smiling because if Lynn is saying she just wished Jakob had been around in her career, I'm going to throw out the similar observation to Adam, who's a firefighter. Where the hell were you when we needed you in Monaco 3 years ago? It's an in-house joke.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Some of my team's
Only
got
we get it. Thanks, Seb. Any other questions? Yes, the gentleman at the back. Can you raise your hand, please? The microphone is coming your way.
Thank you. My name is Gershom, freelance for African media outlets. I've got a question for Jeffrey Kamroro. You probably know the names of Jacob Kiplimo and Joshua Cheptegei of Kenya.
Uganda.
Uganda. Aren't you concerned that these two guys will probably give you a good kick? They're very good runners indeed.
Thank you. Actually, I must first say that this is a global event. It's a championship, and whoever who have come here, has come here for a competition. So to them, they are the best athletes, and also to me, I'm the best athlete. And an exciting and enjoyable event is the one with stiff competition, and I think that's what many people are going to enjoy watching tomorrow. So I think everyone can do his best, but to me, I believe on myself. I'll believe so much on what I've done, and I'm ready for tomorrow, the way they are ready, and we wait what will come out. Yes.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. One last question, or else we can wrap up. No more questions? I think it's best for everyone so that we can let the athletes go. Before we go, for the photographers in the room, we're going to set up a nice photo opportunity on the roof. So if you want to follow us, we'll set this up and then you'll be able to take a very nice picture from the roof. Thank you very much for being here and good luck for tomorrow.